Have you ever shared your dreams too early, only to watch people laugh, doubt, or discourage you? What if the real secret to success is not talking more, but working quietly until your results shock everyone? Today's story will teach you a life-changing lesson about silence, patience, and unstoppable dedication. Stay till the end, because this story may completely change how you chase your goals. Once upon a time, in a peaceful village tucked between the hills of northern India, there lived a young woman named Kavya. She was 20 years old, with dreams as wide as the endless sky above her village. Kavya lived with her elderly grandmother in a small mud house with a straw roof. Their life was humble, but Kavya's heart carried ambitions that no one in the village could understand. The village of Sundarpur was a place where everyone knew everyone's business. Women gathered at the well every morning, not only for water, but for gossip. Men sat beneath the banyan tree each evening, discussing their neighbors more than their own lives. In such a place, keeping a secret was harder than finding silver in the river. Kavya worked as a weaver, creating soft cotton fabrics on her grandmother's old wooden loom. The work was honest, but brought very little money. She watched her grandmother's hands shake as age slowly weakened her, and Kavya's heart ached with the desire to give her a better life. One day, while delivering cloth to the market in the nearby town, Kavya saw something that changed everything. A merchant from the city was selling shawls decorated with sparkling mirrors and colorful embroidery. Their prices were 10 times what Kavya earned from her plain cotton fabric. Women crowded around the merchant, eager to buy these beautiful pieces. That night, Kavya could not sleep. An idea had taken root in her mind. She could learn this embroidery. She could create such beauty herself. She could change her life and her grandmother's life forever. The next morning, Kavya's friend Rani came to visit. "What are you thinking about so deeply?" Rani asked, noticing the distant look in her eyes. Kavya almost told her. The words were ready to spill out. Her plan to learn embroidery, to create magnificent shawls, to become successful. But something stopped her. She remembered the village teacher's words from a recent gathering. "A seed grows best when buried deep in the earth, hidden from the world, nourished in silence." Kavya smiled softly. "Nothing important, just daydreaming." Rani shrugged and began talking about her own plans to open a sweet shop, how it would become the best in the village, how everyone would come to her. She spoke endlessly about what she would do, asking for approval and advice from everyone she met. Kavya made a different choice. She decided to work in silence. Every evening after finishing her weaving work, Kavya lit a small oil lamp and practiced embroidery. She unstitched old clothes to study the patterns. She practiced on scraps of cloth, her fingers bleeding from needle pricks as she learned. Her grandmother watched quietly, offering gentle guidance, but asking no questions. When villagers asked what kept her so busy, Kavya simply said, "Just the usual work." When friends invited her to festivals and gatherings, she often refused, saying she was tired. Soon, people began to talk. "Kavya has become so proud," some said. "She thinks she is better than us now," others whispered. The elderly women shook their heads. Kavya heard these whispers. They stung like sharp thorns, making her eyes fill with tears when she was alone. But she remembered her purpose. She thought of her grandmother's weak hands, of the life she wanted to create. She wiped her tears and continued her silent work. Meanwhile, Rani's sweet shop never happened. She had spent so much time talking about it, asking everyone's opinion, that she became confused and discouraged. Some people said the location was wrong. Others said sweet shops never survived. Some laughed at her ambition. Slowly, Rani's dream faded away, crushed beneath the weight of too many opinions and too much doubt. Months passed. Kavya's skill grew with every passing day. Her stitches became finer, her designs more elegant. She learned to mix colors in ways that made the fabric come alive with beauty. She created her first shawl, a deep maroon piece with golden threads and mirrors that shone like stars. Her grandmother wept when she saw it. "You have your mother's gift," she said, holding the shawl with trembling hands. Kavia's mother had once been a talented artisan who died when Kavia was very young. But Kavia did not show the shawl to anyone else. Not yet. She created another, then another. She worked through winter nights when her fingers froze, through summer days when sweat dropped onto the cloth. She worked when her back ached and her eyes burned from the smoke of the lamp. She saved every rupee she could, buying finer threads, better fabric, and brighter mirrors from passing merchants. She told no one where her money went. After a full year of silent work, Kavia had created 20 magnificent shawls. Each one was a masterpiece unlike anything the village had ever seen. One morning, Kavia packed her shawls carefully and traveled to the city 3 hours away by bus. She entered the largest market and approached the finest cloth merchant there. The merchant, a sharp man named Yusuf, examined her work with expert eyes. His hands trembled slightly as he lifted the shawls into the light. "Who made these?" he asked in disbelief. "I did," Kavia replied. Yusuf bought all 20 shawls at prices that made Kavia's head spin. He immediately placed an order for 50 more. "These will sell in Delhi, in Mumbai, even overseas," he said. "You have extraordinary talent." When Kavia returned to Sundarpur that evening, she carried enough money to build a new house for her grandmother, with plenty left to buy the finest loom and materials for her growing business. The next week, workers arrived in the village and began building a beautiful brick house where Kavia's mud hut once stood. The villagers gathered in amazement. "Where did this money come from?" they asked. "What is happening?" When the house was completed, Kavia invited everyone to see it. In a special workroom, she displayed her shawls and explained her journey, the silent year of learning, practicing, and creating, while everyone thought she was simply being distant. "But why didn't you tell us?" Rani asked, feeling ashamed of the gossip she had spread. Kavia smiled gently. "Because dreams are like seedlings. When everyone touches them, gives opinions, and pokes at them, they often die before they grow strong. I needed to protect my dream and let it grow in silence until it became strong enough to face the world." The village teacher, hearing this, nodded with tears in his eyes. "She understood the old wisdom," he said. "Work done in silence has a power that work done for applause can never achieve." From that day forward, Kavia's business flourished. She trained other young women in the village, teaching them not only embroidery, but also the value of silent dedication. Her grandmother lived her final years in comfort and pride. And Kavia learned that the greatest success stories are not those announced with drums, but those that bloom quietly in the dark, surprising the world when they finally emerge into the light, fully formed, undeniable, and magnificent. The village of Sundarpur learned an important lesson too, that true achievement requires not an audience, but dedication. Not advice from everyone, but focus from within. Not constant talking, but consistent doing. And sometimes, the best way to make the world listen is to work in silence, until your results speak louder than words ever could.